I used to believe that love had a sound, a certain calm, a certain certainty. When I met Elian Thorne, everything about him sounded like safety. Elian didn't chase attention. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't flex or brag. He was the kind of man who listened, really listened, and answered slowly, carefully, as if every word mattered. He wore neutral colors, tailored coats, shoes that never scuffed. His watch wasn't flashy, but anyone who knew watches would recognize it. He smelled like clean linen and something faintly expensive. On our second date, he asked about my childhood instead of talking about himself. On our third, he remembered a passing comment I'd made about my favorite dessert and surprised me with it. When I asked what he did for work, he said, "Finance consulting, nothing exciting." But the way he lived told a different story. He never hesitated over prices, never checked menus twice, never flinched when plans changed. When I teased him once, "You're secretly rich, aren't you?" he smiled gently and said, "I grew up comfortable." That word, comfortable, wrapped itself around my expectations like silk. I never asked for details. I didn't need to. Comfortable meant private schools. Comfortable meant family money. Comfortable meant security. He spoke about his parents with distance, not bitterness. "They're old-fashioned," he said. "They don't like attention. They live outside the city." Outside the city sounded like land, property, quiet wealth. When holidays came, he said they preferred low-key celebrations. When I asked why I hadn't met them yet, he kissed my forehead and said, "Soon, I promise." I trusted him. Because love makes trust feel effortless. He proposed after 18 months. No crowd, no spectacle. Just us. A quiet lakeside lodge, early autumn, mist curling over the water like a secret. He got down on one knee and didn't cry, didn't shake. He looked calm, certain. The ring caught the light in a way that made my breath hitch. Not huge, not gaudy, just refined. He said, "I don't have a perfect life, but I want a real one. With you." I said yes before he finished. That night, I slept believing I had chosen stability, partnership, and a future without fear. Once we were engaged, the comments started. "He's such a catch. You married well. He carries himself like old money." My mother asked quietly, "Does his family have assets?" I laughed. "They're very private. But yes, they're comfortable." I didn't realize how often I used that word until later. 2 months into wedding planning, Elian finally said, "My parents want to meet you." The way he said it, careful, measured, made my chest tighten. "They're excited," he added quickly. "They're just nervous." So was I. We drove 3 hours out of the city on a gray afternoon. As the buildings thinned and the roads narrowed, I waited for the gates, the long driveways, the trees lining private land. Instead, we turned onto a cracked street with mismatched houses and sagging fences. I told myself not to judge. Then Elian parked in front of a weathered duplex with peeling paint and weeds overtaking the yard. I stared. "This is it," he said softly. Something inside me went very still. The house smelled faintly of damp carpet and overcooked food. The furniture didn't match. The walls were bare. The TV was old, the kind that hummed faintly. His mother, Maribel, hugged me too tightly, like she was afraid I'd disappear. "You're beautiful," she said. "Thank you for loving our son." His father, Jonas, shook my hand with rough fingers and avoided eye contact. During dinner, Maribel apologized for everything. The food, the plates, the house. Elian barely spoke. The silence felt heavy, unnatural, like something was being held back. I kept waiting for a reveal, a second property, a story about downsizing, anything. Nothing came. As we were leaving, Maribel pulled me aside near the door. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "You seem kind," she said. "Elian is lucky." "Thank you," I replied, unsure. She hesitated, then said, "I hope you understand what marrying him means." My heart skipped. "What do you mean?" She glanced toward the kitchen, where Elian stood, shoulders tense. "He didn't explain?" she asked. Before I could answer, Elian appeared. "Ready?" he said sharply. Her face fell silent. The drive home was quiet. Too quiet. Halfway home, I asked, "Elian, what did your mother mean earlier?" He gripped the steering wheel harder. "I didn't want you to find out like that," he said. "Find out what?" He swallowed. My family isn't comfortable. The word hung in the air. We're barely surviving. I waited for him to soften it. He didn't. They lost everything years ago, he continued. Bad investments, medical debt, mistakes. The family property didn't exist. The travel was excuses. The lifestyle he showed me was built on credit, loans, and borrowed time. I wanted to be enough, he whispered. I wanted you to feel safe. I didn't know how to respond. I loved him, but love doesn't erase dishonesty. I would have loved you anyway, I said. I know, he replied. That's why I was scared. That sentence cracked something open inside me. A week later, the letter arrived. A legal notice. Debt collectors. My name was listed, as a reference. A future guarantor. He hadn't asked. I thought once we were married, he said weakly, it would be our burden. That was the moment I understood the depth of the lie. He hadn't just hidden the truth. He had already decided my future without my consent. I imagined it clearly then. Paying off debts I never created. Supporting parents who resented their own failure. Living under constant pressure disguised as loyalty. Love began to feel like obligation. And obligation is where resentment grows. I postponed the wedding. Not cancelled. Postponed. My family was angry. His family was humiliated. Elian was desperate. I can fix this, he promised. But trust doesn't rebuild on promises alone. I didn't leave because he was poor. I left because he believed love meant I would accept anything. Because he made life-altering decisions for me. Because honesty should come before commitment. Not after. 3 months later, I ended it quietly. No shouting. No accusations. Just truth. He cried. I didn't. I had already mourned the life I thought I was choosing. I thought I was marrying into wealth. But the real cost wasn't money. It was trust. And walking away taught me something priceless. Love should feel safe, not strategic.